Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my home office, which is a bit of a different place for you to see me. However, this is where I work on an evening and on a weekend when I'm trying to get away from the general public and all the other problems that we're having at the moment in the car industry. And there's one that I want to talk about today in particular, and that is third-party finance brokers. And I've touched on this in the past. However, it is getting worse and worse, and it is really starting to create quite a few problems within the car dealing community. And I want to talk about what we're going to do about it, because frankly we've had enough, but also want to talk you through a couple of instances that have happened with people that I know in the industry, and it's actually almost criminal what these companies are getting away with. So this is a public service announcement. If you are looking at getting finance for your car, always have a look everywhere. Don't necessarily think that these car finance brokers that you find online are the right brokers to use. I'm going to talk you through a few stories today, and I'm going to talk you through what we're going to do as a business as well to try and combat it. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. I am unfortunately just on lemon juice today because I'm trying to be a good boy, and I'm going to talk you through what's going on. Okay, so first of all, what is a third-party finance broker? Well, essentially what they do is they sit in the background and they go to a panel of lenders and they'll get you the best possible deal they can. And then they will call the guy who's selling the car or girl who's selling the car, whoever's selling the car, and say, we have got a pre-qualified customer for you. And I remember when this first happened to me in the business and I thought, oh, that's exciting. It's an easy deal. It's dead simple. Now, as these companies have grown, they're getting cheekier and cheekier. And the one thing that I think has really got my back up is the additional fee that they charge the dealer because they've brought you a customer. Now, this fee used to be around about 200 quid, 250 quid, and more recently with particular companies, Car Finance 24/7 being one of them, it's over £300 now is the fee they charge the dealer for giving you a customer. Now, the thing that we're forgetting here is that Car Finance 24/7 will also be getting a commission from selling or providing the finance to the person who has applied. So they're kind of getting paid twice there. Now, usually the way that we've combated it in the past is by saying, well, we charge a fee as well. So, and our fee is usually exactly what their fee is. Now, the problem I've got with that is inherently the person who ends up paying that fee is the customer. And that doesn't feel right or feel fair. Now, it's got worse because the way they're conducting themselves in the background. I think it's important that you understand what is actually going on. So I'm going to give special mention today to a company called Car Loans UK. This is a company we did a deal with about 4 or 5 months ago on an Audi A5 that we actually picked up from a subscriber. You can see it in this video here. And this A5, they approached us, pre-qualified customer. We've got a fee of £280. And I said, I'm not paying it. I'd rather just sell it to somebody else. I'm just not paying your fee. Okay, that's fine, not a problem. Noted it all down, no fee. They have hounded me with this invoice for the last 3 or 4 months. I've had 2 emails today chasing this fee. I've spoken to them over the phone and said, if you carry on with this, I'll seek legal advice and counsel because it is just, quite frankly, becoming a bullying tactic. And they just continue to send this invoice through. So particular mention to Car Loans UK, I'm not paying it. And also, stop being Anyway, moving on to Car Finance 24/7. This is a situation that's happened with the guy who's in the trade. I'm not going to mention any names, but let me just talk you through this story. So essentially what's happened is, I've got it open here. So one of the brokers has rung this chap and said, we've got a pre-qualified customer for you, and we know that we've dealt you in the past, and we understand that about your fee. Now essentially what this chap's done in the past is he's also done what I've done in the past and charge a fee to counter their fee. And this is where it's interesting because the broker has said to the guy selling the car, unfortunately, the vehicle has been maxed out due to the LTV, loan to value. And what that essentially means is that the lender won't lend as much against that vehicle as they'd like to do because they just don't think it's worth what they say it's worth. And they can only cover a certain amount of the fee. So essentially what's happened is this dealer has agreed to do the deal because of the current climate, and it's another one on board. And I've been here before, we're all guilty of it, of kind of going, oh, it's a deal on the board, let's just do it. Just get the deal on the board. Now, a few days later, he's got an email coming in saying that the deal's been paid out, and he couldn't believe his eyes when they sent an invoice for a finder's fee. Now, firstly, the executive had never mentioned the fee on the phone to this chap, and secondly, they've dealt with him many times before and they know that they don't pay external fees. And finally, why are they paying out a deal without disclosing it? Because they've not mentioned the fee to him. Now, the call was taken by one of his members of staff who knows full well that they don't pay external fees, so it was definitely never mentioned. And it sounds like they're trying to pull a fast one in a slow-moving market. Now, this is where it gets really bad. So what's happened is the dealer has called Car Finance 24/7 and politely declined the deal. The main reason being they just refused to pay the fee. So if there's going to be a fee, we don't want the deal. And this is when it turns out that one of the junior executives on the phone has let slip to this dealer that Car Finance 24/7 has upsold this customer a warranty for £700. So this is a customer and this is a deal where they couldn't quite get to the numbers on the loan to value. So they've come into the dealer saying, we can't quite get to that figure, can you do us a deal? And in the background, they are upselling a warranty into what is technically his customer. He's going to have the relationship with that customer moving forward with a warranty that Car Finance 24/7 have sold to him, which just seems totally bizarre. Luckily, the customer has called the dealer and spoken to him. And what the dealer's done is achieved a better APR for the customer. So the dealer's probably got the same panel of lenders in front of him, a better APR for the customer and saved him £40 a month. He's also provided a better warranty because that's what we do for a living. And when we're providing warranties for customers, and I know it's a bit of a taboo subject, but when we're providing a warranty, we want it to be as good as possible because it reflects us as a business. Whereas Car Finance 24/7, it's not their car, they've not sold it. If the warranty doesn't pay out, who cares? Not their problem. Subsequently, he's had a call from one of the managers and he's basically said the customer wants to collect the vehicle ASAP. And the dealer again has declined and said, well, I'm not paying the fee and actually we've got a better rate for the customer, so I'm sorry, but he's going to go with our finance. At which point, the manager, I won't repeat what this chap said, has turned rather aggressive and said, well, there's a finance marker against the car now. So essentially what Car Finance 24/7 are doing there is saying, well, you can't sell that car on finance now because we've put a marker against it. So what they're doing is they're bullying and manipulating and forcing the dealer to do the deal with them anyway. I mean, are we in the 1980s still? It's kind of disgusting, isn't it? So this hasn't just ended there. They've left the finance marker on the car, so the dealer's been unable to sell the car to the customer, or anybody else for that matter who wants finance. Genuinely, I've had this before as well. And he's chased and chased and chased to try and get them to remove the marker. And eventually, he finally speaks to someone in management, and they've basically said, if you don't do this deal, we're going to blacklist you. Of course, the dealer said, I don't have a problem with that at all. And again, they've strung it out as long as possible. Now, the problem that I've got with this, I've got lots of different problems with this, but the main problem in all of this, there is a customer there that just wants to buy a car. And we are dealers just wanting to sell cars. And I think that these third-party finance companies have got way too big for the boots and are starting to try and control and manipulate the industry as best they possibly can. Now, the moral of the story is, in the words of this guy's father, don't bite the hand that feeds you. These companies make money from our business. So Car Finance 24/7 with him are never going to get another penny's business from him. And I am actually in a similar position myself with them. I've had dealings with them in the past. Some have been good, some have been indifferent. But I have had one recently where we sold a car and they'd upsold a warranty to the customer in the background. And there was actually a discrepancy between where our warranty ended and theirs started, which left a gap, which is their fault, not our fault. If you buy an extended warranty through us, there is no gap. The customer had a problem with the car and they banged the drum about trying to get us to repair it. Now, unfortunately, again, you end up with a customer who's not in a good position. This always boils down to the person buying the car, doesn't it, ending up in a worse position. As dealers, we just want an easy life. We just want to be able to buy good cars, prep them and sell them to good people. That's all that we want. And when there's problems, usually, and I appreciate that some car dealers aren't necessarily morally correct, but usually we just want to sort the problems out, keep the customer happy, keep them in the car and just carry on with our business. Now, there's been all sorts of this going on as well. And another company that I wanted to bring up was Zuto. Now, Zuto is a company that works hand in hand with Auto Trader. And we know our feelings on the way that Auto Trader have been treating their customers ourselves. So it doesn't come as any great surprise that Zuto have changed their terms. And what they've basically said, so we all understand how the Consumer Rights Act works, and we all genuinely, I'd like to think, try and do the right thing for the customer. Now, usually there's a problem in the first 6 months when you've sold a car, you're kind of obliged to do the right thing, and most dealers do. And there are laws and regulations saying that you should do the right thing, so most dealers do. What Zuto have changed in their terms and conditions, and this might be great if you're a customer actually, but I certainly won't be doing any deals with Zuto, is if there's any problem with the car, then this is what they say in the terms and conditions. Should the vehicle fail to meet the definition of a satisfactory quality at any time, then it should be presumed that such issue was present at point of sale, unless you can conclusively evidence that it was the customer's fault by instructing a reputable third-party independent consulting engineer, essentially an ACE report or a Scotia report. So what Zuto are doing there, again, to squeeze dealers is say, if there's any problem with that car, at any point after you've sold it, the customer can return it to you for a full refund unless you can prove that the fault wasn't there when you sold it, which means that you have to pay 250 quid usually for a third-party check. I've also read, and I forget which company it was, I feel it might have been Zuto. What they're trying to do now is that if there's any problems with the cars that aren't being resolved by sort of the usual sort of means, they can go for the directors of the companies that have sold the cars. We run a limited company for lots of different reasons, usually tax, but also to limit the liability to you as an individual when you're selling used cars. Now I know we should all be doing the job properly, but they're all trying to sort of have little chips and find their ways into you. Obviously I've got problems with this because I'm a dodgy second-hand car dealer and I don't ever want to be liable for anything. But what we're going to be doing now is carte blanche. We're not dealing with third-party finance companies anymore. We're just not doing it because it isn't giving the best results for our customers, which is genuinely the most important thing. It isn't giving the best results for us, and quite frankly, the more deals that you do with them, the more of the beast that you're feeding. I've spent loads of time making sure that we can get good interest rates for our customers that still pay us some commission, so it makes sense to still be able to pay your FCA fees, etc., that are fair, have got good processes, and should there be any issues with the cars and they need to get in touch with the finance companies, it's all very nice, simple process. It's how we want to conduct our business. So for us, we are not doing it anymore, not dealing with third-party finances. We'll probably lose a few deals, but genuinely from the bottom of my heart, I don't care. I'd rather not have to deal with this sort of stuff. So there you go. That is another little rant from my home office as to what is going on in the background, and hopefully you can take something from it and it might give you a little bit of a hand moving forward. If you're looking to buy a car, by all means check these companies out because you might be able to get a better deal. And genuinely, if it was this is what baffles me. If it's a better deal for the customer and there's no fee involved, I'm not bothered. I genuinely don't care. It's a better deal for the customer. But you try and tie me in knots with these different things, and you try and put our customers in a worse position with these different things, and you try and blackmail us. I don't want to know. We refuse to be bullied. And I think there is a general consensus across the board that dealers aren't dealing with these companies anymore. Your best thing is get in touch with the person selling the car. They want to get you in it, and they will do the best they can. And that usually means doing the best deal they can. So there you go. Hopefully you found that interesting. I'm going to enjoy my lemon juice and move on to my next rant, I think. I might do a couple of these tonight. Cheers.